Meridian, Mississippi, spring of 1983. The old Meridian State Psychiatric Hospital was a skeleton, just weeks away from demolition. That's when a worker found the box. It was just a simple cardboard box, covered in a thick layer of dust, tucked away behind a rusted metal filing cabinet in the basement of the long-abandoned experimental treatment wing. Inside, there were 7 reel-to-reel tapes. No labels, no dates, no case numbers. Just a single phrase scribbled in black ink on the side of the box: Patient 9. The police officer who was called to the scene, a man named Jim Holloway, was intrigued. Instead of logging the box into evidence and forgetting about it, he took it home. That night, sitting alone in his study, he threaded the first tape onto his player and pressed play. What he heard would not only haunt him for the rest of his life, but would also trigger an FBI investigation that remains sealed to this day. The recording started in August 1971. The first voice belonged to the therapist, Dr. Catherine Marsh. Her tone was calm, professional, the kind you'd expect from an experienced psychiatrist. She was one of the few female doctors at the hospital at the time, known for her sharp mind and compassionate approach. The second voice was the patient. Her voice was soft, almost a monotone, and she was never identified by name. Only as Patient 9. The first session starts out just like any other. Dr. Marsh asks about symptoms, family history, and sleep patterns. The patient gives quiet, one-word answers. It's all very routine, but then, without any warning, the patient's tone changes. She interrupts the doctor and says, "A man will die tonight in Lauderdale. He'll drive off Highway 45. The car will catch fire. No one will get there in time." Dr. Marsh, ever the professional, tries to steer the conversation back to the patient's feelings, assuming it's a delusion. But the patient insists. She describes the car, a blue Chevrolet. She describes the driver, a man in a plaid shirt wearing a gold wedding ring. She even describes the smell of burning gasoline and twisted metal. The tape ends abruptly, with Dr. Marsh cutting the session short, her professional calm clearly rattled. When Officer Holloway heard this, a chill ran down his spine. He spent the rest of the night digging through old police archives. What he found made his blood run cold. On the night of August 14th, 1971, a local man named Robert Klein had died in a fiery crash. His car, a blue Chevrolet. The location, Highway 45. The details from the accident report matched the patient's description perfectly. But there was one huge, impossible problem. The tape was recorded at 2 in the afternoon. The accident didn't happen until 11 o'clock that night. Holloway immediately called the FBI. As they listened to the remaining tapes, the story only grew darker. The second tape, recorded a few days later, has Patient 9 describing the disappearance of a child in nearby Kemper County. 3 days after that recording, a 7-year-old girl vanished near the town of Scuba. She was never found. In the third tape, she speaks of a church fire. 2 days later, the Collinsville Baptist Church burned to the ground. 4 people died in the blaze. In the fourth tape, she describes a brutal murder in a cheap motel just off Interstate 20. She details the scene with chilling precision. A week later, police discovered the body. The crime scene was an exact mirror of her narration, right down to the position of a pillow placed over the victim's face. It was becoming clear that these weren't just delusions. They were prophecies. By this point, Dr. Marsh had started recording extra unofficial sessions with Patient 9. She was becoming obsessed, desperate to understand what was happening. On tapes 5 and 6, her calm, clinical voice is gone. It's replaced by a tone of fear and urgency. She interrogates the patient, practically begging her, demanding to know how she knows these things. The patient's response is bone-chilling. You can almost hear a faint smile in her voice as she replies, "I don't know things before they happen, doctor. I hear them when they happen. I'm there. I've always been there. This brings us to the seventh and final tape. It was recorded on October 3rd, 1971. It's short, only 12 minutes long. Dr. Marsh tries to begin the session as usual, but the patient immediately cuts her off. "Today is the last time we talk, Doctor." Dr. Marsh lets out a nervous laugh and asks why. The patient's reply is soft, but final. "Because tomorrow, you won't be here anymore." Then, patient 9 begins to describe, in terrifying detail, Dr. Marsh's own death. She says the doctor will leave the hospital after her night shift. She'll walk to the employee parking lot. The sky will be clear, but the air will be cold. She'll get into her car, a green Ford Pinto. She'll turn the key in the ignition, and then silence. "You won't feel anything," the patient whispers. "It's quick, but I'll be there. I always am." Dr. Marsh frantically stops the recorder, but the tape keeps rolling. For about 10 seconds, there's nothing but the hum of static. And then a voice emerges from the noise. It's faint, almost imperceptible. It's patient 9, but this time she isn't talking to the doctor. She's talking to whoever is listening to the tape. She's talking to us. She says, "We've finished recording. Now we begin listening." On October 4th, 1971, the very next day, Dr. Catherine Marsh was found dead inside her green Ford Pinto in the hospital parking lot. The official cause of death was listed as a massive heart attack triggered by an electrical failure in the car's ignition system. She died instantly. The authorities launched a full-scale search of the hospital's archives. They found nothing. No admission records for a patient 9, no files, no name, no photograph. It was as if she had never existed. In 1985, 2 years after the tapes were discovered, federal agents confiscated all of Holloway's copies, citing national security. The case was officially sealed. Officer Jim Holloway, the man who found the box, requested a transfer 3 months later. He moved to a quiet town and never spoke publicly about the case again. He passed away in 1998. In his will, he left a single sealed letter addressed to the FBI. Inside, there was only one sentence: "I still hear her at night." The tapes were never seen or heard from again. Officially, they don't exist, but if you dig deep enough into the darkest corners of the internet, on obscure forums and hidden digital archives, you might find a rumor, a whisper of an audio file, a fragment of a recording. It's just 12 seconds of static, but if you listen closely, you can hear it. A woman's voice, speaking softly from the past. Now we begin listening. To this day, no one knows who patient 9 was or what she was. But some people, those who know the story, swear that on quiet nights, when the world is silent, they can almost feel her, waiting, listening. Thanks for joining me on this journey into the unknown. If you found this story as unsettling as I did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more mysteries that logic can't explain. Stay curious and stay safe.